Hi there, Gina Garcia here with IH10 Realty. So I'm going to talk about the market. I'm going to talk about interest rates, and I'm going to talk about the housing sitting on the market, like the days on the market kind of thing. So first of all, we'll start with interest rates. If you are looking at the news and you're hearing interest rates are above 6%, keep in mind we are talking about conventional rates. San Antonio is notorious for doing a lot of FHA loans, VA loans, and some conventional. But I'm going to say majority of the time, you're going to see FHA, okay? Of course, San Antonio is also a big veteran city, so there's a lot of VA loans as well, okay? But both of those, if you see, I'll give you this so you can take a look, you can see that 30-year fix is 6.45. That is a conventional loan. If you look at the FHA, that is 5.91 and the VA is 5.93, okay? So when the news tells you that rates are 6 or above 6%, that is a conventional loan, okay? So a lot of scare tactics, and I'm telling you this because I am in this business every day. And I see a lot of my buyers get in for 5.5, 5.25, 5.75, because rates change every day. There's no guarantee on anything until you lock on something. And the only way to lock on something is to be under contract with the house and to lock in with your loan officer, okay? So rates are under 6%. If you're an FHA buyer or a VA buyer, you're going to see rates under 6%, okay? If you're trying to do conventional for whatever reason, which most people don't, yes, you will be above 6%, okay? So that, first and foremost, is a big, huge myth and mistake and a scare tactic. So don't pay attention to that. Do not listen to the news, please, because it's doing is scaring people to do stuff, okay? Second, we talk about the market, okay? So I'm going to show you this graph here, which is going to be kind of alarming, but there are some good points about this that I want to show you, okay? Let me see here, that I want to show you on here. And the good points about this, okay? So if we look at February's listings, home listings, and we go back all the way to 2012 here, you can see that from this time, this year, 2026, February 2026, 52.2% of the listings lasted more than 2 months on the market. So yes, our market is slower. Our houses are sitting on the market a lot longer than what they used to be. And what you're noticing here too, another fact, is in Texas, the highest share of stale listings was in San Antonio. 58.3%, okay? So that's a pretty good amount of houses in San Antonio that have been sitting on the market for more than 2 months. And this is all going back to February. Every year from 2026 to 2012. So something to be really aware of. And the reason I bring this up to you is because there's two things to think about, okay? The two things are, if you're putting your house on the market, put it in the market value, okay? Put it in the market value, and if you have to adjust, you're going to have to adjust. If you need to sell your house, you have to adjust. Now, will this change? Will this staleness on listings change anytime soon? I can't predict that. Nobody can predict that because we have so many listings on the market right now that have to sell. It could take 2 years, it could take 3 years before we stabilize again. I can't even tell you if that's even possible. I don't even know where the timeline is. All I know is that if you're putting your house on the market, you have to price it in the market. There is no room for testing the market. Let's check it out. Let's see how it's going to pan out, because it's not going to happen. Buyers these days, everybody says, oh, let's price it a little bit higher because they're going to come in and drop the price. They ain't going to do nothing like that. They're going to go out and look at, all these other houses here. And if yours doesn't meet their criteria, it's out. And they go to the next houses, okay? So this is something of an eye-opener that has happened recently in the last 2 to 3 weeks. The market has shifted so much, and it shifted again last year, the end of 2025, and it shifted again in February. I mean, it's just constant changing in the market. So if you're in the market to sell, I'm going to tell you the advice is just to price it in the market. It may not be what you want. It may not be the price that you want. But if you want to sell and you want to get on, moved on to buy whatever you need to buy, price it in the market or a little under. You're just going to have to do that. Or else you're going to sit on the market for a year or 2 years before you can sell. And if you have the ability to do that, to make the monthly payments, to take care of the maintenance, to keep the electric on, to take care of the yard, to make sure that anything breaks you take care of, if you have the ability to do that, then fine. But it doesn't mean you're going to net more money. You're just going to end up finding that one person is going to come and say, well, I'll take a chance and give you less money. So it's just something to understand, because people just don't realize I've been in this business for 26 years and I see it change so much. And now I'm starting to see more and more of a change. And the last 5 years have been really, really crazy, because it's so hard to catch up with what's happening from one day to the next. But I'm paying attention to it and I'm watching it. So my advice to you is price it in the market. And then if you have to make that change, make a little bit of adjustment to be able to stay within the market so that you can get competitiveness and you can get buyers looking and hopefully get an offer that would be worth it, the buyer's approved, and you're ready to go. And then second to that, okay, because you're a buyer and you want to buy a home, you're nervous. You're nervous because you're being told you need 20%, you need 10%, I need all this closing costs, all this stuff. We have so many programs, so many different assistance programs to help buyers right now. We have closing cost assistance, down payment assistance, interest rate assistance, teachers programs, nurses programs, doctors programs, firefighter programs, police programs. I mean, we have all these different types of programs that can work for you. We just team them up with you to see what works best for you. Not only do we have that, we can negotiate with the seller to be able to get your closing costs and negotiate this and negotiate that. Everything is negotiable. And I'm going to tell you, sellers out there right now want to sell, so they are negotiable. Okay, not everybody, okay, I'm not going to say every 100% of the sellers are going to be negotiable, but you can move on from them and find somebody who is. So, but there's more people that are more negotiable to sell than there are the ones that are not. So if you are interested in wanting to buy, you really need to look at this, because today, this very moment, is probably one of your best moments to get out there and try to buy something, because you're never going to have this opportunity again with this many houses on the market and sellers really eager to sell their home. Okay, so you've got sellers that are ready to do something. You have got builders who are dropping prices $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 because they want to sell their homes. Okay, you've got incentives galore that are there for you for the taking. Assistance, down payment, closing costs, interest rates, programs for different, occupations. So there's things out there. So if you're in the market to buy a home, you want to buy a brand new home, let me know. I've got the inventory like crazy, and I've got a lot of builders who are willing to work. If you want to buy a pre-owned home, I've got people out there that are willing to jump over backwards to make something happen. Okay. If you don't have a loan officer and you want to find assistance programs, I've got the loan officer who can help you do that. So it's just, what I say, it's like you don't know what you don't know. And if you're trusting somebody who's only a year in the business, who doesn't know what they're talking about, who is making you scared, you're listening to the media, you listen to the news, and you're just so fearful about doing anything, you're going to the wrong people. So I'm trying to tell you, as a real estate agent who's been doing this 26 years, it's my business. And this is what I do, is I help people get into homes. I help people get in with as little money down so that they can get into a house, and that they can get something that's manageable, that's easy to make on payments, and that they can call their own home. So we'll recap, okay? Interest rates over 6% are conventional. Interest rates under 6% are VA and FHA, government loans, okay? Assistance programs, many of them for buyers who want to buy and get their closing costs, down payment, interest rate, whatever down, okay? If you're looking for a new home, got the inventory. I got a lot of inventory and willing to give you incentives galore. If you're looking for a pre-owned home, I've got a lot of sellers who are willing to bend over backwards to make it work. And inventory is crazy high. You know, there's so much out there. So there's so many things that you can look at to pick. Of course, we're not going to look at everything. We're going to narrow it down to see what makes sense so that you understand what you want, what you're looking for, what area, that kind of thing. Okay. So if you're in the market to sell, make sure you understand, be in the market, be in the price market you're supposed to be in, because you will last twice as long, if not long, on the market if you even sell. Okay. There's no room for playing games. There's no room for testing the market. Buyers do not drop the price. They do not negotiate that. And I know everybody likes to think that, but I've been doing this 26 years and I have yet to see a buyer come in and do that. And the ones that do that are usually your investors. And investors, you don't want an offer. If you're a seller, you don't want an offer for an investor, because an investor is trying to knock your price down as low as they can so that they can make the profit. So hopefully this helps. Just want to educate you a little bit on that, but the market is the market, and we are sitting with a lot of inventory and at least 60 days or so, if not longer, on the market. The average days in San Antonio, the average price of San Antonio is around 300,000. Can there still be houses under 300? Yeah, there's a lot of houses under 300,000, and there's a lot of houses over 300,000. It's just, what are you looking for? What do you want? Where do you want to be at? So I hope this kind of slims down everything a little bit, because I don't like to make things drawn out and I don't like to complicate things. I want everybody to know that there's so much opportunity out there. And if you're not making a move because you're worried or you're scared or you're not sure, you're making a bad decision, because you're still paying rent or you don't own anything. And if you do decide to make a move, we don't know what rates are going to be like. So it's still a great opportunity. It's still a great opportunity to sell. It's still a great opportunity to buy. You just got to price your house right as a seller. And as a buyer, you have to find the right real estate agent who's going to give you all the opportunities that you can find to help you find the right house. So I hope this helps. Any questions, reach out to me, send me a text, give me a call, or reply back to this email. Have a wonderful Easter, and I hope to hear from some of y'all. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.